Nope.
Yep. No.
Recording
Just
has
got it.
started.
Oh, yes.
So the Vertical Flight Society has a proud 81-year history. And I hope that the folks watching us right now, 80 years from now, in the year 2104, enjoy this, because this is going to be part of the archive. So it looks like Outbrand joined. That's great. Let's see, who else do we have? I think we're just about at a quorum. So let's get kicked off. Why not? Let me pull up the slides. Let me share my screen first. Betty, you mind admitting people while I run the slides?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Let's do that. All right. Cool. Can you guys see that? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Let me put it in presentation mode. All right, it's showing as like a full screen.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I first want to extend my thanks. I know there's a lot of things that you as students, have to do, in part study, and then want to do, like spend time with your friends and other extracurriculars. But we do believe that in your membership to the Student Council, I think would be very fruitful. And we are a small but mighty nonprofit. Obviously, you guys are fairly aware of the Vertical Flight Society since you are on our radar and wanted to join the Student Council. But again, thank you for taking the time. We're not asking for a lot. I mean, this is our kickoff meeting here, but we will try to set up a monthly cadence, and we'll get to that. But a monthly cadence where you guys can come together and chat. I think what we'll probably do is more or less set up those monthly calls as a Robert's Rule of Order, a standard type of meeting with officers and directors. You'll have old business, new business. You'll go through, you'll go through a fairly standard structure of those calls. But so, as I said, Vertical Flight Society, I will introduce myself. I am going to certainly be involved with the Student Council. I was also one that helped spearhead the Student Council, but I'm not going to get in your way. I will be there to help enable you guys, especially when it comes to access to others, your network, and even funding. But I want you guys to take this this opportunity and run with it, and leaning on the advisors that we'll discuss. But this is me. I'm a Maryland grad, studied aerospace engineering back in 2009, grad. I got my master's at Virginia Tech in engineering administration, a role that is suiting for my current role running a nonprofit. About 16 years of experience working in the aerospace community, lots of different jobs, primarily in support to DARPA, which is here. The Vertical Flight Society headquarters are in Northern Virginia, and DARPA's, I live in Arlington, Virginia, and DARPA's here in Arlington. I also worked on the F-35 and the Joint Program Office, as well as the Office of Naval Research. Most of the programs I had supported were VTOL programs, R&D programs. I also, excuse me, I also did work on other things. It wasn't just VTOL, but I always have a passion for vertical flight. It's one of the more challenging domains, as you probably can imagine. Even, I had workspace, launch vehicle, and even satellite programs. And it's funny how there's simplicities in some of those, and in a predictable orbit, and orbital mechanics are actually fairly straightforward. When you talk about air and then your rotary wing aircraft, it starts to get quite complicated. So at the bottom, there's some programs I had helped run in my tenure before Vertical Flight Society. The Vertical Flight Society, like many other nonprofits, has a board of directors. They provide guidance and overall vision for a nonprofit. We have Al Brand on the call with us now. He is on both the board of directors and he runs the technical committee. So he has a very unique and special role since we are a technical society. But as you can see, some fairly important people on the board, even Army, Navy, private sector, academia. So we hit on everything, and we have regions from all over the world, of course. We have a Europe, Africa region, where they are their respective leads. We just had the European Rotorcraft Forum in Europe a couple weeks ago. Arnaud here ran that event. He was the chair, and then it rotates between countries. And Luca Medici, who's also on our board, will be the chair when the European Rotorcraft Forum is in Venice, Italy next year. And Antonio, we'll make sure that you join us. You're not too far. I don't know, Rome
Yeah.
to we'll get you there at the European Rotorcraft Forum next time. But so this is the board. And then, of course, you may interface with these folks a little bit more frequently, but this is our technical council for the year 2020, 24, and 25. So these folks are what's the word? They are the lifeblood of the vertical flight technical realm internationally, right? These are the subject matter experts and the people that are pushing the envelope on the advancement of VTOL technologies across the world. And so we have, I think, 400 or 500 actual individuals that are part of the technical council. We have different committees and we have deputy technical directors that run each of these committees on various different topics. They might have roughly 25 members in each, and they will discuss certain topics. With those tied to those, we have our competitions. So, for example, we have a student design competition many of you might be aware of. Luigi Moretti is the chair for that student design competition. Aditya Ramaswamy is our chair for that design build vertical flight competition, and we're going to put out that RFP very soon. Otherwise, we have other roles beyond the deputy technical directors, including we have a journal and we have an editor-in-chief that runs that. Of course, maybe some of you are familiar with the Vertical Flight Foundation. We have scholarships and we have a chair for that. So that is our tech council. I want to hit on some of the goals, vision, objectives that I feel we'd like to see out of the student council. And then I will introduce that student council. We have a little org chart we created. The first thing I want to say, it's a selfish one, but it's important. Your own personal growth and your networking is extremely important. And we want you to take advantage of the opportunity that you'll have in being a member of something greater, this student council, representative of an international community of engineers. We definitely want you to take advantage of that. I think engineers are a unique group of people, students through to retirement. We're problem solvers, and that's great. But sometimes we look within to solve a problem, and sometimes it is reaching out and having an exceptional network and talking to others that can make you great. And so we want you to be great. And so we want you to be able to network with others and take advantage of the student council. So the vision is to promote and enhance education and professional development for the students and even for our community as a whole in getting interested in vertical flight. A lot of things that you guys can do, whether it be relaying information from the students to the chapters and connecting students to professionals. You can be that conduit between the two. You know, we have the student chapters. They run fairly independently, right? They're not talking necessarily to anyone outside of maybe their faculty. And so that's one thing that you guys can help us with, connecting students to professionals. Different ways we can do that. But I'll hit on the first one. Conduit to relay information to the students and the chapters. I mean, you guys can connect with the chapters in various ways. Sometimes, you know, we forget about them. not that we don't care, but like, oh yeah, we have the Maryland chapter. I wonder what they're up to. The students there. But it'd be great to have you guys take on a more of a lead role in engaging the students. Like, hey guys, how's it going? It's September. It's the new year. Do you still have the same president that ran the chapter last year? You know, like, oh, are you guys going to submit a design for the student design competition or the design build vertical flight competition? Or have you been able to log into the website yet? You know, you have access to the library and all that content. Being a conduit between the student chapters and headquarters and the rest of the industry is important. Connecting students to professionals is something that's also critical, and that's something that you'll benefit from as you graduate and then eventually, you know, get a full-time job. So it'd be a great benefit to you. But whether it even be face-to-face interactions or simply, you know, one idea would be us having us set up a monthly seminar and call. We have the student distribution list, all the students that are members, and you know, we could have example being, what's the day in the life of a Boeing employee in Ridley Park? And we can have an engineer from Ridley Park, That's the Philadelphia. That's where they build the Chinook and most of the V-22, some of the V-22, Al brands on. But and they can just walk you through the day in the life of an engineer. You might be like, that sounds wonderful. That sounds awesome. I want to be a Boeing employee. Or you might say, geez, that's not what I want to do. I want to go work in a different sector. And that's important for you guys to get exposure to. And all the students would be potentially on these calls. We can run them on Zoom. And then, of course, we love the students' feedback. And I try to relay that to executives across all of industry, what the students are feeling, where they want to end up after they graduate, especially the PhD students. Do they want to work for defense? Do they want to work in the private sector? Do they want to start their own company? And that's feedback we love to relay. And if you have other goals and objectives, we love to hear from you. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Betty, and she can kind of walk us through the composition of the student council, and then we can go from there.
Thanks, Angelo. So just to recap what Angelo was saying, we want the student council to be a student government body that serves you and your interests. We hope that you can make this a meaningful and useful experience where not only do you tap into our vast depot of resources and networking, but also, how can you recruit other like-minded peers into, the greater VFS community? So without further ado, I want to introduce our inaugural year of student council leadership, starting with, and I apologize in advance if I butcher your name, so just come in and correct me if I'm saying it incorrectly. So for this year, our president will be Ksenia Kursanova. Ksenia, are you?
Yeah, that's
Are
good.
you on
That's
Scott?
correct.
Oh, great. I believe Ksenia, you are a graduate student at Penn State. Is that correct?
I'm an undergraduate senior at Penn State.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And then serving alongside you would be your vice president, Nathan O'Brien. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
I believe Nathan is at the University of Maryland.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. And then our treasurer this year will be Aku Kamar from Texas A&M. Aku, are you online with us?
I
Great.
am. Yeah, nice to be here.
Nice to have you. And then our historian will be Jacob Lungen. I think I saw you earlier from Penn State. And to round out our group of 5 is Lucas Park from UC Irvine. And he'll serve as our VP of Communications. Hi, Lucas.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, great. Now, I believe these roles are just, I think, a snapshot of what you'll be doing. I mean, they could expand and evolve depending on what you deem is important to the student council as we kind of move on. And then below you see we've designated a few more roles as directors, but I won't go into every single one. But I do want to extend a huge thank you to all of you for serving the student council this year. And I'm excited to support you in your endeavors. So I'll hand it back to Angelo.
Yeah, and we'll open it up. And I want you guys, I already talked, we're 25 minutes in. We have some suggested director roles, and we want you to take a look at those, to those directors. And if there's one that you think that fits your personality, that fits your interest, this isn't necessarily a purely technical council. Like we certainly want there to be a technical aspect. You're all engineering students, but especially when you take on a full-time role, you'd be surprised how sometimes non-technical your job is. And it's great to have people skills and other type of skill sets. And so that'll be the student council will be an enabler there. And so if you see a specific director position that you like and would like to take on, please let us know. Or if you have one in mind that's a little different, that's great too. That'll be one of your homework assignments after this kickoff call. And on the left side are your advisors. I think some of them are on the call. As we said, Al Brand is here. Al is the technical director of the Vertical Flight Society. Al, if you're on, I know you have to jump off at some point, but maybe you want to get a few words in, maybe some words of wisdom for the students. I know Al enjoys opportunities to engage with the students and provide a nice historical background on VTOL. But Al, maybe, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So, yes, I've been a VFS member for 40 years. I started when I was an undergrad at Georgia Tech, and I got my education in aerospace engineering from there. Stayed for my PhD, and I have actually been at Bell for 35 years. So I am their senior technical fellow and director of the flight technology group. And I will say, on behalf of my role on the VFS Technical Council, that we do value the VFS. They are the technical society for our industry. And we have a lot of longtime members in the company here, and we strongly do encourage people to be a member of VFS, to be engaged with that every year. We do send some of our best engineers will be authoring papers. VFS has an annual forum. Next year it's in Virginia Beach. It's a great event. There's typically we'll have a display of kind of a floor space where you'll have might have helicopters on display. A lot of vendors will be there. The OEMs will be there, and they'll present typically around 275 papers in different technical sessions. So it's one of the events I always look forward to each year. Any other questions you'd like me to consider, Angelo?
Oh, that sounds good. One of the other big picture things that we're trying to do with the student council is ensure that there's a talented pipeline going to companies like Bell. And there is always competition within talent, right? The talent pool of what students decide to study, what they find interesting. I'm not going to say that, vertical flight is an extremely exciting domain discipline, but the pipeline hasn't been, in my opinion, what it used to be. And that's something else that obviously the student council will help us with in encouraging students, exceptional students go on to go work for Bell and do some exceptional things. What Bell's been able to do with the tilt rotor concept is pretty magnificent. But there's a lot of fun things in store, even with that concept and other types of concepts that we'd love to have our talented engineers work on.
Maybe one thing I could add is, if you're in a student chapter and if you'd like to have people from industry come out and talk to your chapter, we'll always be willing to entertain that. Give us enough time to sort of schedule it, and then we have to fly out to your university. Just let us know. And I've done that many times. I'll go out and travel and be willing to do that for the students of your chapter. I recognize Ku there, and I've come to Texas A&M's like our backyard. I've come out there to talk to the students, and then we can talk about what our company does. And I won't say a whole lot about it, but what Bell is known for, it's been in the helicopter industry since really the 1940s. And if you pay any attention to the aerospace industry, Bell is now on contract with the Army for the program that will replace the Black Hawk, and would be the UH-60. And that is what's keeping a lot of engineers busy here right now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Al. Is Ed Smith on? We can at least Ed can jump in.
Ed, unfortunately, Ed can't make it, but he sends us his regards, and he's very much motivated and interested in supporting all of you. So you'll see him hopefully at the next meeting.
Yes, he is, and Ed's great. He took on the role of education committee chair. That's not a tech council position, and this is something he was very excited about starting the council. Luigi Moretti is the student design competition chair. I'm not sure if he's on either, but he's certainly a great asset in an advisor role for you guys. Is Luigi on? No, that's all right. And then we have our student reps who are on the tech council and are going to act as liaisons and can support, certainly since they are students, they can certainly attend and support your meetings as students, but also as a liaison. Is Matt, or I think Aaron, and I saw Aaron, I'm not sure if Matt's on as well. I don't know if you guys want to say hi. That's okay.
Matt, we didn't hear you there, Matt.
You there, Matt? That's okay. So Matt is at Maryland, right? And Aaron where is Aaron? Penn State? No.
Georgia Tech, I think.
Georgia Tech, that's right. Yes, Georgia Tech. That was, and maybe I'll leave this slide with, we are still looking, we do have an Australia chapter, I suppose, and we have contacts in Australia. I'll actually be in Australia in November, a little over a month. We have an Asian Australian Rotorcraft Forum. So the University of Sydney and the University of Melbourne are associated, and we'll get a student from Australia. And then we also, Georgia Tech's on the hook for another student, because that leads me to my next slide, which speaks to the, if it lets me go to the next slide, let's see. Here we go. The student council is a little heavy on the VL Arcos. That's just the nature of the vertical flight community. We have the 3 vertical lift research centers of excellence, and there are affiliate schools associated with those centers of excellence. But there are a few of you from Maryland, and then Penn State, and then Georgia Tech will have another one join. But these are one of the things the Vertical Flight Society lobbies for and supports. We have these centers of excellence that help, push the research and the basic research for vertical flight. And a lot of the students that come from these centers of excellence end up at Bell and Sikorsky and Boeing and help, lead these initiatives to develop new aircraft and new technologies. And many of our members are affiliated with the vertical centers of excellence. I'm on Capitol Hill. I'm here in the DC area. I'm on Capitol Hill at least 3 to 4 weeks a year, trying to lobby to generate additional funding. That's one of the things that the Vertical Flight Society does in our mission. So I just wanted to give that context as well. So from here, I really just wanted to open it up to you guys and let you guys talk. And then you'll have really plenty of opportunities to chat after this during your calls. But that was kind of the 25-minute, where are we in? We're 23 minutes in. The 23-minute pitch just to get you set up. And Gustavo is joining us, which is great. And so maybe we start. I don't know. Maybe we start with some introductions. If you guys want to just jump in and briefly introduce yourself, and maybe something you're excited about, the student council giving you the opportunity to do. And if no one jumps in, I'll pick one of you guys. Aku, you want to start? I know Aku had been involved a year or so ago, and he had been an initial, supporter and helped get some of the initial bureaucratic administrative things done with us, and also relaying the idea of the student council. So Aku, I know we have you in the role as treasurer, which I think you'll enjoy, I hope. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts about the council.
Sure, yeah. Hey guys, my name is Aku. It's after almost a year of kind of thinking about this idea with Angelo. I remember that meeting a year ago. It's great to see this finally up and running. There's some incredible students on this council, as well as professionals on the advisory board. So I'm just super excited to see where this goes. When I imagined it, last year when we talked to Angelo, I just saw this as being like a driving force for building community between the student chapters and between the student chapters and professional organizations and companies like Bell with Dr. Brand here. And I hope we're able to accomplish that over the next year, and hopefully, like Angelo said, for the next 80 years. So super excited.
Awesome. I think we'll put maybe Jacob in the hot seat next. So Jacob is going to be in the role of historian. I have a fraternal background, and the historian role in a fraternity is actually a very important one, since the Vertical Flight Society does have so much history. So we're going to definitely put Jacob in the position to study up on the history of the Vertical Flight Society. But in his role as historian, he's the 5th seat of officers, so making sure there's an odd count. when there is a vote, but also to ensure that the traditions are kept and that these meetings are remembered. And also he's in a position. Deetha's joining us. Awesome. But he's in a position to help guide the committee, the student council, excuse me, in manners that help ensure that we meet our bylaws and the different requirements that we have set in place. So Jacob, you're a Maryland guy. Are you bachelor's, master's?
I'm Penn State, not
excuse me,
Maryland.
that's right. You're Penn State.
No, I'm an undergraduate. I'm a junior in my undergraduate for aerospace right now. Yeah, I'm really excited. Looking forward to working with everyone and sort of meeting like-minded students from all over the world and helping more people get involved in vertical flight. Super excited.
Awesome. And we have Ksenia here, also Penn State, who is going to take on the president role, and we have a lot of high hopes for her. Ksenia, I don't know if you want to jump in, and if you have any thoughts.
Yes, I would love to jump in. Hi, everyone. I'm Ksenia Kirsanova, and like I mentioned, I'm an undergrad senior at Penn State, hoping to do my master's here starting next year as well. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to attend the 80th VFS Forum this past May in Montreal. And before that, I had never really even focused much on rotorcraft because, well, as my aerospace career, because it's not really it's not talked about as much as like spacecraft or airplanes.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Edward Smith, who was just my academic advisor at the time, and his passion for rotorcraft was very contagious, and it caused me to grow like a very big liking towards it myself. And as a result of that, I joined a research team with him, and I was able to attend the forum. And I think so. So to answer the question, I think that connecting with one another as such a niche community is what I'm excited for the most, because at the forum, what I noticed was that it is a niche community and everybody is very passionate to speak about rotorcraft, and they do it with like a spark in their eye. And I think it's inspiring. So that's what I'm excited for.
That's a great way to put it, and it's great to get not an outsider anymore, but an outsider's perspective going to the forum for the first time. My first forum was in 2009, I believe, and I won best paper. I wrote a history paper with Gordon Leishman, who was a professor at Maryland, and I felt the same way. And I remember seeing the executive director speak. That was Rhett Flater at the time, and I'm such a great orator. And here I am now as executive director. It's kind of like pinch me, right? But I appreciate that feedback. Nathan's another Maryland grad who's going to take on the role of VP. Nathan, maybe you could talk about yourself.
Yeah, hello. I graduated from Penn State in 2019, so I was a little familiar with the VLRCO world just from being from there. I worked in the fixed wing world for a couple of years, came to Maryland. Now I'm the Maryland VFS student chapter president. I wanted to get involved in the student council so I could get to know other people from the other VLRCOs. That way, when we all meet each other at the forums, we're not strangers, and we can just have a good collaboration, get to know each other, and have fun.
Awesome. And then Lucas Park is at UC Irvine, and he'll be our VP of Communications. That's an important role, Lucas. You got stuck with that. But no, you're going to help us just keep everybody connected, and you'll be kind of the keeper of the email distros and rosters, and that's one of the most important things, is to keep us all connected. So Lucas, you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everyone. I'm a senior aerospace engineering student at UC Irvine. Just off of first impressions, I kind of see my role here being as kind of from an outsider point of view, from a VLR co, because, UCI isn't one of those. And so in my experience with VFS, it's kind of been spearheading these efforts and kind of engaging more students on the West Coast. And at UC Irvine specifically, I think it's one of the first chapters in the UC system, but I'm also just looking to spread this community more on the West Coast and then obviously now internationally. So it's really inspiring to meet other like-minded students that are so talented and passionate about this. And I'm just really looking forward to being able to make a big impact.
Thanks, Lucas. And we do have a UC San Diego. There's a new chapter that just got. Yeah, and then I think UC was another UC. Maybe that's part of what you guys are going to help us with. Keep track of all the student chapters. I think was there another one up in Northern California? I forget.
We have I guess for a while we've been trying to get Stanford and UCLA and UC Berkeley in, but there's just not enough critical mass of people doing specifically VTOL. But hopefully with the help of the student council, we can see if there are sort of like related disciplines that can plug into VTOL rather than strictly VTOL or aerospace.
Yeah. Now, for directors, I did see Gustavo Sanchez join us. How are you, Gustavo? And do you have a role that you might be interested in from the director list?
Hello, everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you for accepting me into this organization. I tried to join before. I apologize, but it wasn't working with the university network. So now I'm using my cell phone. So
You're
I don't
recording. We're going to
too
record
much information about the positions that are available. I am a PhD candidate from the Purdue University. Before I used to work for the Colombian Air Force for 20 years and as a pilot, and mainly I flew mainly helicopters, and all of my research here at Purdue is about helicopter operations, especially emergency response. So if I can be helpful in some way, I would be very happy to work with you. And again, thank you for accepting me to be part of this organization.
Thanks. Gustavo, I have very high hopes for you, in part because I would love for us to grow our presence in South America, Colombia especially, and that is something separately and maybe as part of the student council you could help us with. My mother-in-law is from Colombia, so I've been to Bogota quite a bit, and I do speak Spanish. And so I feel like there's a potential there. And so we'll talk. There's one of the universities does subscribe to our journal in Bogota. So there is already somewhat of a connection. Betty, you probably know which one it was.
I work with them because I guess at that time I was the only one.
Javier de
it was Pontificus.
Pontificus,
yeah. At the time, I was the only one on staff before Angelo came who could converse in Spanish. So maybe we'll lean on you, Gustavo.
And then Michael Morcos, are you on?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here in the VFS Student Council. I'm doing my master PhD track in University of Maryland, Rotorcraft Center. I want to say my first VFS was last year in West Palm Beach. It was just a great experience in my beginning of my graduate studies. It felt like family of the helicopter people. Everyone is just talking about VTOL and everyone speaking, sharing their experiences. So looking forward to get involved more and help the community grow. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And is Vivesh on?
Yeah, this is Silver.
How are you? You're one of the Maryland guys too, right?
I am one of the Maryland guys. Actually, awesome. I just started my first year of grad school, but on track to do a PhD.
Congrats.
But wanted to join it. I mean, really, because I actually got exposed to VFS and rotorcraft stuff from undergrad. But even then, the community was actually really good because everyone knows each other, and the community, especially from like a technical perspective. I mean, you all probably know Dr. Chopra and all of them. You can tell they all know each other to the point that it's actually interesting to hear what they know and then what their friends know, and then kind of get into that world. And I think this is a good way for me, and also to see how everyone else can also expose themselves to more things in vertical flight.
Yeah, awesome. And it's a part of why we've had such a long history. The hummingbird at the top left, if you look at the slide, her name's Hovey. and she was developed 1943 in Stratford, Connecticut, and you know that history has sustained since then, and we are such a tight-knit community, and so that is one of the strengths that we have. And there has been growth in part because of the eVTOL movement, AAM. It's another vertical flight endeavor. Can be a little dividing. We have the traditional helicopter, of course, too. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. Is Yuval and CU? Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Yuval. I actually just started my master's in aerospace at the University of Maryland. And I'm super excited to join the student council and just get to know everyone and get to network with other people and meet new students. And yeah, just super excited to be here.
So on the topic of Maryland, I am going to be on campus all day tomorrow. They're giving out like an alumni award. So I'll be there with Vertiflight magazines. I'll be with Dr. Chopra and Dr. Dada. I'm gonna try to, if you guys are around, I'm gonna hand out Vertiflights. And then I'll be at the Kim building maybe half the day. So come look for me. Vivek, are you on? All right. He'll watch the recording after the fact. Taman,
oh, there we go. I think my thing is working now.
Oh, Vivek, you back on? Okay.
Yep. Hey, so I'm a PhD student at the University of Maryland, so I'll come find you tomorrow, Angelo.
Yeah.
So I wanted to become a part of the student council, particularly because when I met a lot of students and people in the industry at my first forum at West Palm Beach and last year as well in Montreal, I really learned about the diverse perspectives from a lot of the students and industry, people that were there. However, we are all coming together to discuss one thing, or discuss vertical flight. So learning about a lot of different people through the discussion of one technical concept was really interesting and intriguing to me. And therefore, I wanted to come and join the student council to do that same with all of you, and also expand my horizons to the international vertical flight community.
Awesome. And then we have Taman. Is that how we pronounce Taman Jiang?
Yeah, Taman Jiang.
Who just woke up. It's apparently 6 a.m. in South Korea. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hello everyone. I just started my PhD in Seoul National University, and I got master's this August. And I was fortunate to attend in both of last and before last conferences, VFS conference, and I felt very the society is very enthusiastic, and I wanted to kind of connect. There are several people doing research in rotorcraft in South Korea as well, but they are not like very involved in the society. So I was thinking about doing student council. So I'm pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And if you're not already, we'll definitely get you connected to the Korean chapter. We have they just had elections, I think, Betty. But yeah, we do have a presence there. It's great. We also have a substantial presence in Japan, and that crowd will be getting together when we have that Asian Australian Rotorcraft Forum down in Melbourne. And so I'll be meeting with some of your colleagues or mentors, Taman, when we're there in November. And then Stefan is at the one of the universities in the Netherlands. He's not feeling well today, and so he wasn't able to make it. And we'll record and make sure he can watch after the fact. Adita was one of our first attendees on the call, and I think you're still around. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, thanks, Collins. Hi, everyone. I'm Aditya. I'm a PhD student at Auburn University. So I've been working in the rotorcraft for the past couple of years. So the way in which I started rotorcraft was like I've been working in a couple of eVTOL startups. That's how I got introduced to the world of rotorcraft. And I did my master's back in India, which actually really got me excited about the rotorcraft, and getting to know the various aspects of rotorcrafts is what excited me to keep further pursuing it throughout my PhD. And to give one certain aspect, like working in experimental part of Rotorcraft is not only like given a different perspective, or it gave a different perspective throughout my entire non-technical aspects, I would say. So yeah, that's about me, and I'm excited to be part of this PFS Student Council, and I'm looking forward to meet everyone in person.
Great. And Antonio, I think you're still awake.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
pushing midnight.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, I am Antonio, and I'm from Italy, Milan, from Politecnico, and currently I'm working on my master thesis at Leonardo Helicopters Division. It was former Augusta Westland. I think I'm the only electrical engineer one here. So,
which is great, though.
Yeah,
especially with the
great.
direction electric aircraft, electric VTOL are going.
Exactly. My master thesis is about the impact of ultra-fast charging of eVTOL on the electrical grid, which is like studying a very very powerful car recharging for the grid. And so I started in September at Leonardo, and I'm looking forward to make connections and share my results and share the know-how.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks. And then Atusa, are you on? I think I saw her join. She's on mute. Tusa is up in Montreal, and she's a student at the Polytechnic. If she's not on, we can circle back with her.
I don't think she was able to join on this call.
Okay. Yeah, we'll circle
I don't
back with
see
her. We do have a fairly the Vertical Flight Society has a fairly established chapter in Montreal. We have a few hundred members. Bell Textron Canada is up there, and they're building commercial helicopters, and which is why we also did the forum in Montreal. And so, Montreal is a special place in our heart. So now that we still got a little bit of time on the call, so what I wanted to do now is, before we close, I wanted to hit on our actions before we close off. You don't have to pick your director positions right now, or you can think about what you'd like to do, but that's one of your homework assignments coming out of this. It'll be good for each of you in the director roles to have a job, like something to do. Whether it be, I'm the guy that's going to research all the universities. You could start small, like in the United States. Which ones offer vertical flight courses, and report back. Report back to the student council, or report back to us. Like, oh, it seems like this school offers quite a few vertical flight courses. We should reach out to them, right? You don't have to be the one, but like that's the feedback we'll get. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll reach out to one of their professors. I'll reach out to the president of the school. There are other roles, of course. Maybe one of you helps run the seminars. We'll have a monthly call. We just get the invite out to everybody, all the students. Betty will help get you guys the distro of the few hundreds of students we have, or 400 or 500, and we'll get a speaker, and we'll schedule a monthly seminar. And maybe it's the day in the life of a Boeing employee. Maybe it's a short class on eVTOL concepts, something like that. And so there are different roles, and you can brainstorm. We also want to confirm the comms channels for you guys. You can email each other. You can use the Hover community. Maybe, the Hover community seems like it might be the right thing. It's like our internal listserv, if you would call it that. And we will we'll create a community for you guys to talk to each other in. Separately, if you do want to talk to each other separate to that, you can certainly do that. Is anyone on the call familiar with Hover? It's the address is there, hover.vtol.org.
And you sign in with your VFS member credentials. If you have not signed in to your VFS membership portal in a while, please reach out. I can help you resuscitate that. But
you will all have free. Like if it's expired, or if you want us to, we'll renew it for free. Since you're obviously volunteering, and just let us know. that'll be the first check, is whether or not you're able to get into the hover site. And if you're having a hard time logging in, let us know. We'll get you in. But we'll use the hover community to help you guys engage each other. And you can certainly use email as well. But that's one place. We'll see how things go. This is obviously the inaugural. Is that you, Gustavo? All right, sorry. And then we will, I don't know, it seems like maybe Thursdays at 5, most of you were able to join. But do you guys like this time slot, 5 p.m. Eastern time, US, to have a monthly call? Because we can certainly continue at this cadence. Or if anyone doesn't like this time, please let us know as well. And you can jump in now. Silence is acceptance. We can certainly use this time for you guys. And it sounds like we will. So let's Betty, we can after this call, what we'll do is in 4 weeks, what's already on the end of September. So, close to the end of October, whatever that Thursday is, we'll set up another call at this time. So now I want to open it up with the last, 10 minutes we have. 10, 15 minutes if you guys have any thoughts or suggestions. You have the slides, but in the backup, they're the different roles. If there's something that you find interesting, or something you wanted to throw in, Lucas has got his hand up. So go ahead, Lucas.
Yeah, so kind of touching back to the topic of wanting to, or like assessing if different universities have rotorcraft curriculums. I know that the case for a lot of UC systems and a lot of the majority of the schools is that they don't. Typically, aerospace curriculums don't involve heavy in-depth analysis on any type of rotorcraft technology. And so what I'm kind of trying to start here at UCI this year that I thought I wanted to kind of share was Intro to Rotorcraft 101 workshop series, where we'll have subject matter experts in aeroacoustics, structures and vibrations, controls, flight dynamics, and whatnot, all come and speak. They'll all be senior engineers in local companies. And especially in the Southern California region, we're very fortunate to have access to companies like Supernal. And there's a lot of other rotorcraft companies doing kind of vertical lift stuff here. But kind of what I wanted to go off of that was maybe it would be worth it for the entire student council and also leveraging VFS's network to kind of work on one workshop course plan that we can use universally for all the universities that don't have rotorcraft workshops to kind of supplement their education. And then that's something we can hand off to new student chapters as well as something to start. But yeah, I just wanted to share what I'm kind of working on this year, and I thought that might be beneficial for other universities.
Yeah, Lucas brings up a good point, and even on a grander scale, something that one school puts together, generates, can be shared across all schools, or leveraging, what Lucas had spoken to, like a workshop. We can duplicate that and extend that across all other schools, or if there's a student at a school doesn't even have a chapter, he has something to start with at least. And it's better to start from something that's been developed than start from scratch. That's what the collective of the student council will help us enable. So that's a good idea. Thanks, Lucas.
Lucas, I'll connect you with Dr. Smith at Smith on the education committee, because that's something that we want to work towards as well. And we also want to collate all the different rotorcraft or VTOL related courses and just post that as sort of a resource list on the VFS website. We do have an existing, we do have an existing eVTOL short course that we roll out at Forum every year. It's been a hard battle trying to get that accredited on a university level. I don't think we'll ever get there, but maybe we can do something with it so that the students can take it kind of informally, just to get them started.
For eVTOL specific, I have one session for that, but I also have kind of a draft for a course plan that we can look over. And I think a lot of the cases, what I specifically had tailored for UCI was a little more watered down than a professional course, just because it's introductory for undergraduate students. But we can find somewhere where it's a middle ground where it's good enough so that universities are able to give credit to students to do it, and it will also still be easily digestible for students with no prior experience in rotorcrafts.
That sounds like an excellent goal. And yeah, I'm here to support you and everyone who wants that to happen.
Yeah, I could send out that draft. I don't know how to get I honestly have never used Hover in my life, so I'll have to figure that out. But maybe if we're all on an email thread, I can just send that out.
Yeah, just we can use email for the time being, and then we'll figure out how to shoot it up on Hover.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, Hover has like attachment capabilities, and you can post content, and it's set up kind of like it's not like Reddit. It's more like it's like an old-fashioned listserv kind of a. You can have a thread and people comment to it. It might be. We'll try it out. I don't know if you guys use Discord or what the students use nowadays. Betty claims she uses Discord for other things, but it's not going to be. If we have a Discord community, it's going to be more private and separate to the society, and we want to use society assets, which makes sense to us, but we'll make it work. But anyone else have any thoughts or maybe their own vision for the student council? Not all at once, guys.
Yeah, I love to add something. I love that idea. First of all, I think something like an MIT OpenCourseWare solution, where I know, Texas A&M, for example, has one course in Rotorcraft, which is a great course, but we just have the one, right? And so if some other schools are able to share theirs, and like you said, having a very like having an actual curriculum would be great. But another idea I was thinking about, so in my local area, we have a lot of kind of underprivileged schools, and so frequently I work with them to teach them about helicopters, teach them about aerodynamics, teach them about, like, in a very watered down sense. And we have a great engineering outreach program at Texas A&M. And I'm sure a lot of these big schools, especially these big state schools, have engineering outreach programs. And so something I would love to see is more rotorcraft, and even just aerospace in general and engineering in general, but especially rotorcraft, uh, 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 outreach to some of these local schools, especially participating in something like a drone competition where, you get a group of high school students together and they build a drone and you can kind of mentor them over the year. There's a lot of cool programs out there that I think would be great. I know I saw a director of service. That could be a great first, project to work on, is how do you, kind of get more schools in local, you know, near the universities involved.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the earlier we can expose students to vertical flight, the better, and getting them excited, as well as getting more courses offered in vertical flight. And even at the time when I was at the University of Maryland, Gordon Leishman was providing an undergraduate class on rotary wing flight, but that was about it at the time. And there is a board, and that's something that we can also do as the student council, is engage the various engineering boards of the different schools. For example, the University of Maryland has an aerospace advisory board. And one of the things they were able to do recently was advocate for more electives, more engineering electives, so that you're not stuck, like you have to take these classes and that's it. Like, well, maybe if we offer more electives, there'll be more opportunities for students to take the rotary wing electives, and maybe we add a rotary wing elective. And those are things that can happen. And that's something we can help you guys with. But that's great, Aku. I think someone else was trying to jump in earlier. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I just something I feel like this could be one of the rules, like for the directors, is like collecting feedbacks after like events or main events like the VFS forum, or like events any of the directors like attend by themselves, and like have kind of the suggestion box for it. And if it's me, I would put the first suggestion, or like the first paper in this box is like put enough recognitions for new entrant, or like new people joining, or like new presenters for their papers or for their efforts, and like be recognized like over the VFS websites and like pages.
Yeah, absolutely. and maybe you can put some more thought into that over the next month. And if you want to introduce that as your role, that'd be great. And I realize some of you may kind of decide on a similar role. That's great too. You guys can both, whoever, maybe two people that decide like, yeah, well, we both are interested in this. You can share that. You can share that responsibility, and you can get twice as much out of it. So don't be afraid that someone else like, well, someone took that idea I had. Like, well, you can both do it. So that's great. Because there are certain roles that folks may not want to take as well. And we tried to have a bunch of different ideas available. This is our first time, obviously, establishing a student council, and we'll learn. The bylaws will also be probably updated. I'm not sure how extensively you guys read those, but the bylaws will certainly be updated as the student council evolves. We will probably have you be the ones that recommend changes to the bylaws. We will likely still introduce those to the tech council for them to review and approve. There will be some formalities with that. And even when it comes to funding, and I can speak to that as Aku's the treasurer, we don't necessarily have a specific budget. But if there are things we think of, like, oh, it'd be great to spend money to do this, then let me know. I'll relieve funds. I'm not going to say we have a specific budget per se, but if there are things that we can do, and buy whatever it might be, getting someone getting someone physically, get them to travel, transit somewhere, we can help with that too. Go ahead. It's a coup. Sorry. Yeah, your profile. Go ahead, coup.
Yeah, all good. So my actual name is Akshoj, so that's what you're seeing there.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So are we under the purview of the, I guess, technical side or the nonprofit side? Because I would love to do some fundraising, especially from some rotorcraft companies if possible. And we might be able to offer tax incentives if we're under the nonprofit side versus the technical
and
side.
I'm probably, now that I've been at least a year in this role running a nonprofit, I'm not going to call myself a subject matter expert, but maybe to help you guys, and how much time do we have left? The Vertical Flight Society is a 501c3. We're an educational professional society. We are also considered like a charity. We can accept donations and provide tax incentives, documentation to make a full tax write-off of a donation. The Vertical Flight Foundation is technically a separate entity that I run as well. It's been around since the 1960s. That is also a 501c3. The Vertical Flight Society does the accounting and manages the finances for the Vertical Flight Foundation. So if there's an opportunity for fundraising and we want to tie that back to the foundation, or if we want to this is another idea we had in for the student council. We can create a separate fund that's just we can call it the student fund, and that would be funds that are donated to the society that we can use for the students. Or it could become, we could use it for scholarships. We could use it to give out awards to students that win Design Build Vertical Flight or the student design competition. We can use those funds and we'll have flexibility to support the students. Absolutely. But you're under the umbrella of the Vertical Flight Society. Our legal name is still the American Helicopter Society International. If you try to look us up, banking, taxes, whatnot, we're still the American Helicopter Society International, and we will be the legal entity. So if folks want to donate, they can donate. They can write a check to the American Helicopter Society, and it can be tax deductible. That's something we'll talk to Ku offline too. But those are full donations. We're thinking about actually doing a silent auction in Virginia Beach on Monday evening before the forum. And that'll be a fun opportunity. And we're going to have some fun donations, I hope. And folks will be able to, they'll be able to bid on items. And whoever donated items will get a tax deduction. And all the proceeds will go to the foundation, to scholarships. So anyone else that wanted to jump in? We're right at 6, but I want to respect your time. And I know that Antonio probably wants to go to bed. But anyone else have any parting words?
I think Taemin, I think Taemin's also pretty much tapped out, right?
Well, it's early for him. Maybe he's going to go back to sleep.
There is a question from Aditya, our DBVF chair.
Oh yes.
It might be a rhetorical question, or it might be something to think about as we continue with this effort. He wants to know what the student council envisions they'll make an impact on 6 months from now. What is our big goal for the group? And I don't know if that's something we're ready to answer, if you're ready to answer. If so, feel free to jump in, or if it's something that you want to kind of ponder.
I think I am going to certainly be around and involved, but at the start, I definitely want us to take small bites, and just get in the motion of becoming comfortable with the student council, the involvement with the Vertical Flight Society. And I think we can probably make some small, like we discussed some pretty big things already, right? Like maybe we start a symposium or a seminar monthly. We, as Ku brought up his idea, and Lucas brought up an idea. Those are 3 right there. But big picture, I think in 6 months, I'd like us to all have established roles, directors. We get a nice battle rhythm going of a monthly call, and folks, the students start, making some progress and putting together kind of their own vision for their role. And maybe, as Aditya said, like a 6-month outlook of, what they think they can get done in 6 months realistically. And you guys can discuss that internally. And we'll be here as well to help guide you and can provide feedback. But I think that's some of my thoughts there. But awesome. Was Aditya still here? Was he just listening?
He's
yes.
He can't come on.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry,
Awesome.
Fantastic. Super excited. Really excited for the student council. The question I was very much a rhetorical question of, and definitely something over the next few months. As a student council, we're brainstorming and thinking about stuff. Maybe something in the back of our minds we can all mull over. What is our big, hairy, audacious goal to really inspire and empower students all over the globe to learn about all the exciting potential of vertical flight technology. So something we can kind of mull over, and maybe in the upcoming months we can put together like a vision statement for the student council's transformative impact. But just wanted to toss that out there as a rhetorical question for us to brainstorm in the back of our minds.
Cool. So from here, I think for now, Betty will take the lead in organizing a call. I guess Betty will probably set out a recurring monthly call for their monthly meeting. And your homework assignment, as we discussed, is to decide on a director role. We'll set up that hover community so that you guys can talk to each other over the month. And as we discussed, we're not expecting you guys to spend, 5 hours a week, certainly on any of this. And in the early few months, you'll get caught up to speed. But we hope, you choose to dedicate some time towards this, and the more you put in, I think the more you'll get out. I imagine many of you, hopefully after you graduate, will stay in vertical flight, and after an experience like this, you'll have maybe too many connections within the professional community, and you'll have too many offers for jobs to pick from. But when we get there, but thank you guys. Any parting words before we tune out?
I have one question.
Sure.
So what will be the channel with which we will communicate, or like a group or the forum?
We throughout between calls, we're talking about using this hover community, and we'll provide more details in an email probably after this call, and we'll test it out. We'll see. First, we got to get you guys logged in, make sure that your login works, and over the next few weeks, we'll just troubleshoot all that. And once we're in hover and you guys are chatting with each other, we'll see how that how that feels, sharing documents with each other. And you can certainly still default to email, but it is nice to have one central place to talk, because then
exactly.
God forbid, like someone's talking on this, oh yeah, I was on Discord, or I sent that in an email. Like, oh, we need one place to make sure you guys are all on the same page.
Yeah.
So cool.
Is my mic working now? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry, it wasn't working earlier. Just to introduce myself, I'm Matt Arache. I'm one of the student reps on the Tech Council that's going to interface with this group a lot. So I just wanted to say hi. I'm going to be a part of the student council as well, and I'm here to support in any way I can with any of the director roles. I think the student council is a really good idea, because within our respective universities, right, we have our VLRCos. We sometimes interface with people outside of our own lab groups, but we don't really get to meet each other across universities, except unless we bump into each other at Forum or ERF. So Aditya mentioned thinking about our goals, and I think a major goal for us should be just engaging as many students as possible, and we can try and maybe have a separate partition on Hover, not even just for the student council, but for students in general to interface with each other, because it's a little daunting, sending a message to every professional that's affiliated with the community. It might be a little more welcoming to chat with other students about what they're working on. They're going through the same issues, they're having similar problems with similar experiments. So just might be a nice way for students, especially at those smaller universities, to connect with each other. So I'm happy to support in any way I can, especially with some of the IT stuff in the background, if it's a lot of work too for you and Betty, Angelo.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was even one of the director roles. It would be like just that IT person to help us keep, be the keeper of, like, all right, we set up the Hubbard community, who's managing that. So we could talk about that offline too. But that's great. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be on campus, like I said. Cool. All right, guys, any other last words before we dial off? I will say this may be posted to YouTube, just for others' awareness that we had this call. And if anyone has objections, we have a fairly popular YouTube page. Okay, good. No objections. Great. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it, and we'll be in touch. Enjoy your weekends.
Thanks, Angela. Yeah,
Thank
you too.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
See you, everyone.